Recently, one of my articles was published in the British Medical Journal where I said, the cause of killer diseases is your mind. The silent killer in your body is not hypertension or diabetes or cancer, but your own mind. And if this mind is poisoned and it hates someone, your own body gets the damage and not the one who you hate. Let me tell you how it happens. If I can take a photograph of yours with a biophoton camera, I can see every cell of your body, every atom of your body emitting a photon light. And when I look at that, they are so happy, dancing. If all the cells, you have about 120 trillion cells in your body. Each one of these cells loves the other cell. That apart, it loves the cells of others. My cells love Karthikeyan cells as much they love my cells. Now imagine for a minute that I hate Karthikeyan. I want to damage Karthikeyan. I want to pull the carpet under his feet. And I want to get his chair and become the director of the CBI, Central Bureau of Investigation or whatever. Now what happens? My cells get so confused. My cells say, why is this fellow doing this? Karthikeyan is a part of me. Karthikeyan is like a hand or my head or my leg. So why am I harming him? So a time comes after some time, your own cells start hating your own cells. And that is what we doctors call as autoimmune disease. And you would be surprised. I just had this afternoon a SMS from a doctor in Calcutta. She is a very highly qualified doctor, Refa Sipi. She so beautifully wrote, Professor Hegde, thank you for your article on the mind in the Royal College Journal. And I have started using that on my patients with autoimmune disease, and my patients with cirrhosis liver are doing very well. Fascinating. This only goes to show that if we start loving one another, vegetarianism, non-vegetarianism, and things like that pale into insignificance. Ultimately, what is needed is love, universal compassion, and that is what exactly is what is called good health. I'll give you the definition of good health. Good health is not absence of disease, because the definition of disease, every one of us has a disease, forget about it, but it doesn't kill you. We doctors connect disease with death so that they frighten you because we want more patients. I'll give you one example how we fool you. We tell you, if you're a diabetic, even if you're a South Indian eating rice, we tell you, you must start from tomorrow eating chapati. Now this creates a lot of problems in the house. The wife who doesn't know how to make chapati, she struggles to make chapati, she can't do it, and she does something which she doesn't like to do. This is very bad. Doing something which you hate kills you. Now the wife, she has to do it because she thinks the doctor has said the husband will live longer if he eats wheat. Now I'll tell you the truth. Wheat contains wheat gluten, and wheat gluten is a direct damage to the pancreas. So wheat goes directly to your beta cells in the pancreas and keeps you a diabetic permanently. That is only disease mongering. I want my business. If every diabetic gets better and if there is no diabetes at all, what does the diabetic specialist do? Did you get the message? So friends, don't believe anybody but believe yourself. This is the most important thing. So health is enthusiasm to work. Get up in the morning and ask yourself, do I have to go to work today? And if you're enthusiastic, you say, I am healthy. 2, enthusiasm to be compassionate. Ask yourself, do I want to help somebody today? Because what does the Sanatana Dharma say? Paropakarartham idam shariram. You are made for the benefit of others. Remember that? You are here for others' sake. And if you did that, you are absolutely healthy. That's what Ayurveda says. What does it say? Samadatuhu samagnischa samadoshaha malakriyaha prasannatma indriya manah swastaitya videte. You get up in the morning, you sleep well, you eat well, you piss well, you shit well, you love well, and you don't hate nobody, you can't get any disease. How do you get disease? Krodha. You know what krodha is? Anger. Anger. Anger and danger are just one letter apart. D, you add D to anger, it becomes danger. And anger is an emotion which kills you. One of the very important causes of stroke is anger, sudden bout of anger. Krodha, shoka, depression, frustration. Bhaya, extreme fear. Ayasa, exhaustion. Viruddhanna bhojana. Here comes the most important part. The wrong type of food at the wrong time. Viruddhanna bhojana. Taponalan. Taponalan is not doing anything. Sedentary life. Just lying down, doing nothing, lazying around. Sitting in the chair for hours together shortens your lifespan. Instead of sitting, you stand, you cut your lifespan. If you walk, you lengthen your lifespan. When you're talking, I rarely talk like this, standing in a place, because this is only one mic. Supposing I have a collar mic, I keep walking. When I walk, I circulate my blood better. And I oxygenate my blood better in the lungs. So the better blood goes to my brain. I can think sharper and I can talk better. So it is very important that tapo nalan. Then what does it say? Katva amla kshara lavana tikshnashnati rakta pratope. All kinds of unnecessary things we eat. And that's what produces every disease. What's the treatment? Hita mita ahara sevi. What you like. Now when you sit for eating, love your food. And think of the person who has cooked the food. And imagine the food will be very happy for you. And you start watering in the mouth before you see the food. And when you start seeing the food, the watering, the enzymes in all over the gut start secreting. So you get better digestion, better absorption, and you're more tranquil when you eat. Think of the wife or the husband or whoever has cooked it for you, and the effort that has gone into it. And eating with the hand, you're giving your bioenergy. I still remember there was one very famous justice called Justice A.S.P. Iyer. Is that right? He was an ICS man. And from the ICS, he became a judge and became a Supreme Court judge. After passing the ICS in those days, these Indians had to go to England to study ethics and manners and how to eat and all. So he was living in a house where the house lady said, Mr. Iyer, you must eat with the fork and the spoon. Mr. Iyer said, no, I have my hands. I'll eat with my hands. She said, dirty hands? You're using that? No, madam, I'm washing my hands with soap and water. No, here is a very nice fork and spoon. Why don't you use it? That fork and spoon has gone into so many mouths, but my hand has gone only into my mouth. And you're passing a lot of your bioenergy when you're eating with the food, and this energy makes it get digested easily. So, Sita, Mita, Ahara Sevi. Then, Samikshakari, work very hard. Lot of us don't want to work. We want lazy away, we want excuses, we want casual leave, we want sick leave, and all kinds of leaves. I had given an advice to the bankers some time ago. Every bank officer gets money if he goes and sees a doctor and gets a checkup. So I told the chairman's group, I said, look, from now on you make a new rule. One who doesn't go and see a doctor, one doesn't take anything, you give him a bonus of 5 or 6 lakhs every year. Because the minute he goes to see a doctor, he becomes a patient. Did you know that? An American professor of medicine, Leon Eisenberg, asked the brightest of the student in the class a question. Who is a patient? Do you know what the student answered? A man or a woman who sees a doctor becomes a patient. Then she was shocked. Is it what I have taught these students? Then she asked, when does he become a man or a woman again? Do you know what the student said? Rarely ever, comma, if ever, full stop. How does it happen? We say, this is your normal sugar. There is no definition of normal in our medicine. It's statistical. We have average. Like, for example, I'll give you, what is the normal height of Indian males? You did a study, 1,000 males and the Gaussian curve, plus mean plus 2 standard deviation. So 5.4 inches plus minus 2 inches is the normal for Indian males. Okay? We accept it as normal. So anybody outside that is abnormal. And he requires treatment. Amitabh Bachchan comes for a checkup, 6.2. So what's the treatment we give? Cut his leg and make him 5.6. And then Jaya Bachchan comes for a checkup, 4.6. What's the treatment? Transplant a leg for her, make her also 5.2. This is exactly what we do. Mahatma Gandhi's blood pressure used to be 200 by 120. And who was not getting sleep? Sushila Nair, his doctor. But the old man never took any treatment. And he died of kidney disease, heart disease, blood disease, head disease, and all kinds of diseases. Did he? That would have spared, God say, his life if he had died of that. He didn't die. He lived to be killed. So this is what we do. That is what is called average becomes a normal. You get what is called false positive. Remember that? So if you know little statistics, for when you apply disease statistics to healthy people, you get on an average for every parameter checked by the doctor, 5 to 10% false positives. Now remember, Now you go for a checkup in the hospital, TBS, your 500 parameters are checked at a given time. So for each parameter, 5% false positive. 500 parameters, 2,500 false positive. If 100 people go for a checkup, 2,500 patients come out. That is why they make you run on a heart day, they make you run on a healthy day, Bupa walk, etc., because you make people who have not walked at all, make them walk 5 miles on the first day. Their knee joint is going to get damaged and they get pain and they come to the hospital. So one Bakrak has come. Now when they walk and somebody sees him walking with a little gasp, you better get a checkup, your heart may not be very good. So he comes there, he gets a block and he becomes an angioplasty candidate. So you think they do this walking all for your good? No, for their good. This is called disease mongering. In the good old days when this blood pressure first became a disease, do you know how? In Germany, some company made a chemical which lowered blood pressure. So how to sell it? So they had what's called a Well-Man clinic, a beautiful ambulance, inside which a very beautiful sister sitting with a blood pressure apparatus. And this was parked outside the church on Sunday, outside the mall on weekdays, and outside the holiday season. And it says, come in and check up your blood pressure. So you go in and see this nurse, you get little excited, so your blood pressure goes up. No, I'm not joking, I'm seriously telling you, I'm making it little lighthearted, that's all. Because even if somebody touches you, it's called the alarm reaction, your blood pressure goes up. So when you look at this nurse, and then she ties that puch thing on your hand, and then chuk, and she says, oh, your blood pressure, then finished. Then you're permanently blood pressure because the doctor says, you start taking tablet today. And next day if you go and the blood pressure is normal, they say, that's because of the tablet. If you leave it, it'll again go up and hit the roof. Nothing of the sort happens. But once labeled, this is called labeling. You are permanently labeled. So don't you spoil your health. Ask yourself whether you're healthy and don't ask the doctor. If you can work hard, and if you can love others, compassionate, you're fine. Now why are we getting these diseases like blood pressure, cholesterol, so-called sugar and all? It is because when we were hunter-gatherers in the forest, predation was a cause of death. So God in His wisdom gave us a special system called the autonomic nervous system. So if you saw a tiger in the forest, you had to run away from the tiger. If you don't run away, the tiger will definitely kill you. If you run away, there is a chance that you may not be killed. So you run. For running, you require energy. Today, P.T. Usha can drink glucosided run. But in the forest, you don't get glucoside. So God said, okay, I will prepare good glucoside. God made the sympathetic system secrete a hormone called adrenaline. And this adrenaline goes to the liver. In the liver, God has kept a lot of gunny bags of sugar as glycogen. So it goes into the liver, releases the sugar from the liver, which is called neoglucogenesis. Actually, Aurobindo so beautifully said, Galen and Hippocrates gave us some hocus pocus in Latin and made us get frightened. So anyway, neoglucogenesis, you get sugar. So you start running, you get energy. Then to run, your blood pressure must go up, so your blood pressure goes up. To run, your heart rate must go up, it goes up, all because of adrenaline. Now when you run away from the tiger, all these things come down. Sugar comes down, blood pressure comes down, heart rate comes down. Today we have transplanted ourselves from that forest into the society, so-called society, civilized society. Civilized society, in my concept, is making man go more towards animal instincts. That's a part. Yes, it's over. Time over. Time over. Thank you very much. But if you want me to come to this whole story quickly, 2 minutes, 1 minute, yes. Now what happens? Today everybody in society has become a tiger. Your boss is a tiger, your assistant is a tiger, your wife can be a tiger, your husband can be a tiger. So you keep seeing these tigers every minute and every day, and your blood pressure goes up, your sugar goes up, your goes up. Now there is no time to run because you can't run away from these tigers. So you have to be there and suffer that. So this permanently remains high, and you die not because of any other cause, you die because of your mind. Your mind gets frightened. So friends, be tranquil, you will live as long as you live. I'll close it with an Irish couplet which says, I eat whenever I'm hungry. This is what you should follow. Never eat when you're not hungry. I drink when I'm thirsty. If heavens don't fall down, I'll certainly live till I die. Thank you very much.